Here we go. Just another day in Leafland. It is the Real Kyper and Bourne show. We're live on Sportsnet 360, 590 The Fan in Toronto. Streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. Also available Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, where I'm sure the chat is going pretty strong already.
It should be lively today.
On the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Jake the Snake Schultz, Derek Brandeo. The next 2 hours, we got a fantastic show. Of course, we'll break down everything in Leafland in this hour edition of our program. And then Steve Valiquette will join us on his regularly scheduled Tuesday.
Yeah.
In the meantime, MLSE CEO Keith Pelley spoke today, and the search for a new man is wide open.
Wide open. We got a lot of directions to go. You know, we haven't spoken on the show anyway since Treliving got fired. We haven't spoken since the Gudis game last night.
Gosh.
We haven't spoken since the Pelley conference.
doesn't
We
it
should
feel
have
like-
done just 2 Leafs hours.
We could easily do.
Doesn't it feel like a million years ago from our last show?
Yes. Lots changed, boys.
Lots has changed.
Lots have changed.
Yes. And
Lots has changed, is what I'm trying to say.
Words.
I got to tell you, I know our discussion in yesterday's show was a little surprising for you guys. What I mentioned that Treliving could get fired as early as yesterday.
It's like I almost
I
don't even want to give you credit for it because you dropped it at 4:20.
That's what I mean. Like, it would have been, I don't think it would have been that weird unless it was at
First of all,
4:26 when you mentioned it for the first time.
Like 1,000 people have told me it was actually 4:29, I think.
But we've been grinding every day, talking about nothing, just trying to get through these last 2 weeks of the season. And you get some piece of information that the general manager may not last a day, and you're like,
We'll get to it.
we'll get to it.
You know what the problem is?
No show meeting.
It's the sponge between my ears.
Yeah.
It's kind of soaked already. and there's stuff that I hear,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It's in the sponge.
wow,
I
that could be so interesting. And I'm like, then it's 5:59, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say that.
I view my job. I should change my Twitter bio to the sponge squeezer. It's my job to figure out what's in there and wring it out over
Bring
the
it
hour.
constantly. Honest to God, I don't know. It's just, it dawned on me that maybe I should mention this because I heard it.
Yeah.
And I kind of chucked it to the side because it was game day and it's not going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the strangest of times to make the announcement by Keith Pelley and the MLSE, it was 8:30, guys. 8:30. Like, we were an hour and a half from a pretty emotional game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which we may touch on it. We may not have time.
Yeah.
But I was absolutely shocked that it came down the pike. And then we heard from Keith Pelley today, and Elliot spoke of this last night on our show, which we covered Toronto and Anaheim, and he spoke of how Keith Pelley may have felt that Brad Treliving was pushing on this sooner than later, which certainly was proven to be true, as Keith Pelley talked about that today.
You love my relationship analogies. If someone's like, we'll talk about it later. It's like, no, we'll talk about it now. And that's Tree was like, you tell me what's going on. If we need to have a talk, let's just have a talk. And they had a talk.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? What's your first overall thought of Brad Treliving being let go, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's the right place to start. I think it's the right decision. I think this gives them a fresh chance at charting a new course, which they badly needed.
Yeah.
Things have gone badly.
Yeah.
I wrote last Friday that, to me, it was a tenure marked by indecisiveness and a lack of clear direction. Even if they stated a clear direction, their actions never followed that. And it felt like if they're going to get better and change things next year, that this was going to happen. And here we are. Better now than in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Kip?
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it should have happened a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the game plan was for him to finish out the season. Don't you get that sense?
Yeah. Well, if he forced the hand, then it sounds like they weren't going to play the hand yet.
So the question is how far does it go down? Because I get the sense that there's still going to be changes made. There should be changes made. Yeah. There's a group of them that have been there a long time. How deep does he want to go into to change a few things, either from ownership or from Keith Pelley's perspective? Is this just the start? I don't think we got a real sense of that moving forward. And, we'll talk about Keith Pelley's press conference momentarily, but certainly the start needed to be Brad Treliving moving on.
Yeah. So, Sam, why don't you weigh in as well?
I can't get over the fact that they were on the verge of allowing Brad Treliving to make franchise-altering decisions this month. Yeah. This month.
Yeah.
March 6th was the deadline. March 8th is the deadline. And I don't know what's true. I'm not an insider, but I read a lot of stuff after that about Nyes and about other stuff and Willie and whatever it was that they were thinking about doing. I can't get over.
But we don't know, Sam, for sure.
Well, we don't know for sure, but there's enough smoke there to say that they were considering some pretty massive decisions.
And I think you can make the case they did make some big decisions. If you want to win next year, they moved on from McMahon.
No, but like, I'm surprised that if they were just going to do it, it should have been done a long time ago. They thought that they were going to come out of the break and get hot and all this stuff that we all knew wasn't going to happen. And it feels like it's just not run properly in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that's a fair case to be made, that if it's it wasn't proactive by any means.
Correct.
It didn't get out ahead of it, and here you are.
Imagine, for example, we don't know. I know we don't know for sure about Matthew Nyes, okay? But let's just say he got dealt to the Montreal Canadiens at the deadline, and whatever the package was, and then 2 weeks later you fire the guy. I can't believe that they were willing to let him run that with all these people in charge that they have 6 assistant general managers. You couldn't let one of them make a pick for a second-round pick for Bobby McMahon?
There was big names mentioned at that deadline, and those deals didn't happen. I wonder if potentially they pulled back the reins on some of those big moves because they thought that maybe this would happen.
Yeah,
maybe.
And that does happen, that some general managers, even though they may know their destiny, can still move on a day-to-day position and still make some trades. Maybe it's like, okay, you can do these 3, but you can't do these 5. And at the end, I don't know, maybe Brad might have had a deal with Montreal or somebody else, and maybe someone oversaw it and said no, right? Knowing that we're undecided on your future. So all of these things behind the scenes, we don't necessarily have the privilege of knowing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's hard to say. Overall, do you want to get to some Keith Pelley clips, or do you want to get your overall thoughts of Keith's presentation today?
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay.
What do you
want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'd say the phrase you heard most often was structure, vision, tactics, them trying to build out sort of a plan. He talked quite a bit about what do you got?
Yeah, no, keep going.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Talked about,
I'm with you on that.
Well, what are the next steps, right? And it's like, okay, well, we want to have a head of hockey ops was the word he used. He didn't say general manager. He didn't say president. A head of hockey ops. Then those people will define the vision, and then that leads to the tactics, and that leads to your structure. That seemed to be the message he tried to convey about where they
go from. And not overly surprised in terms of those type of terms. I think they're safe terms. They're terms that are probably heard more often in an HR department than they are in hockey culture.
Ahead of business too.
Business, right? More business type of chatter, but not certainly
jargon, if you will.
Hockey jargon.
No, it was corporate jargon.
Okay, corporate jargon, but certainly not hockey talk per se. And I think he was much more careful than we've seen him in the past. And I thought his first, 10, 15 minutes, he read off of it a lot, which says that he was much more careful on the words that he chose and how he chose them and how he structured them. And I wouldn't expect anything less. This was a very important press conference for him.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think I got exactly what I thought I was getting at the end of it. He avoided, I think, the places that he could get himself tangled up.
Yeah.
For the most part, I thought it got a little tricky at times for him. Certainly when it came to mentioning other teams in the
Specifics.
division,
Yeah.
which kind of got him maybe a little bit tangled a little bit, but he was smart enough to kind of get back out of it real quick here. Mm-hmm. But, he didn't come across today speaking as if he knows how to make the sausages. You know what I mean?
But so when I look at the whole thing from Pelley today, I come away from that, and my one thought is the guy has one thing to do now, and that is to hire people who know hockey. And so whether that be 3 people he's got to hire or 2 people or whatever, if it's just a president GM, I don't think he'll hire the coach. The coach will probably come from those people. This whole thing, he can say all the words in the world. His job now is to pick the right 1 to 2 people. And so it's as simple as that. Whatever you want to say about vision direction, I didn't like that he said data-centric. I didn't like that he mentioned the Buffalo Sabres. You can, whatever. He's got to pick a couple of guys. And that's the important part, and that's what he's going to set out to do.
Okay, let's go to Keith Pelley and clip 1 on his role from here on forward.
Now, I've heard a lot of comments over the course of the season about my role as CEO and involvement in team decisions. So I want to do away with that right away. Let's do away with that right now. I'm not here to be a scout. I'm not here to be a coach. I'm not here to be a general manager. And I have no desire on giving any input on who should play left wing. I am here to create the overall vision, the strategy, put the structure, put the process, put the pillars in place to develop the right culture for us to have a winning and a contending team year after year.
So,
go ahead, Sam.
You hear him talk. I think one of the questions I would ask Leaf fans and, people who are feeling sort of like I am about the press conference today, where, I wasn't totally in love with it. What could he have said today that are going to make you feel good?
I think the answer is nothing.
Because that's what I'm.
Right? It's just.
I have a ton of criticisms bouncing through my head, but I think that we're at a point with this franchise and the relationship with the team where no matter what anyone says right now, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's crap.
Totally.
Oh, this makes no sense." And
there's nothing possible that he could have said today that would have made anybody feel better, right? Without really throwing a lot of BS going around.
Yeah,
but, let's be honest. He did the best that he could.
They want to win. They want to win now. That you can say, "Oh, I disagree. They should tear it all down." Whatever. They still are trying to win. He said that it's a rebuild, it's a retool, not a rebuild. That's still part of the.
Well, but I just, he can say whatever he wants to say in the press conference, okay? And we can quibble with some of the stuff. We're going to play some of these clips, but
we'll do our quibbling.
What I hope is the plan. And he said in that quote there that I'm not here to talk about the left wing. I'm not here to talk about whatever. Is that he's going to hire somebody that he trusts to just make every hockey decision.
Yeah.
That he puts there, say it's Doug Armstrong, certainly not going to be Jim Nill because the Stars snapped him up pretty quick today. But whoever it is, that's the person that's going to be making the decisions on the personnel below him, as opposed to Keith Pelley making the decisions on the personnel below him. So when I hear that clip, that's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right thing to take away from that?
I do. Yes, I do think it's the right thing. And there's. Yeah, let's get into some of these clips here. Why don't we just, you want to move through them,
Sure.
Kip? Is that good? Want to just go on to what's the plan?
Which one interests you?
Yeah, well, that was the first question. Josh Clipperton was literally just said, what is the plan?
Yeah.
And this was the answer.
Okay.
Well, I think the plan is, when I talk about structure, I talk about organizational structure. So it always starts with organizational structure. Once you have a structure in place, then you put the people in place, you have the strategy, then you have the tactics, and then you move forward. And if you have alignment and accountability, and that allows you to be able, both players to be accountable to each other, coaches to be accountable to each other, front office to be accountable to each other, alignment on the vision, alignment on the strategy, then you have an opportunity for success. So that's what we'll start building today.
That means, that's just a lot of fluff.
That literally means
that is.
And that, when I'm talking about the quibbles,
yes,
is the first thing where it's like,
we're going to align the vision with the structure and the
that's not a plan.
And the strategy.
That's
like
not
this
a plan.
TikTok,
That's like
there's this TikTok account I follow that literally is just like these talking heads doing like Zoom meetings where it's just like them saying things like that. That's what that was.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Yeah,
I'm not a business guy, clearly.
Like, but anything outside of that answer, could tangle them up, could get them in trouble.
Well, and like
right?
if we pick that thing apart, it makes sense. Like, you got to get there, have a structure. You got to have.
I think he learned a lot from his comments back in October on it's go time, and it's I have the culture's great. I mean,
and unity, chemistry, great skill.
He got himself in a little bit of hot water there, and I think he learned a lot going into today. So stay safe. He gave no indication on probably the answer that Sammy and many in Leafland wanted for a plan. Like,
when he says a plan, what I would love.
What did you want? What do you want?
I would be like, hey, we're
back in the playoffs next year.
No, we're going to hire a president of hockey ops. We're going to hire a fresh new face, a general manager, and we're going to move on from there.
But he said that, Sam. He did that. He did that.
Later on, he didn't say it.
Okay. No, to me, a plan is that we are going to fast track this and get back into the playoffs as early as next year. That's a plan. Okay.
And you can't say that because then that's up in the.
I'm going to quibble with you here.
But it's like you can't do that because number one, you don't know if it's true, and number two, you know it's going to come back and haunt you.
Yeah. You know, my quibble with what you're saying is like, I hear a lot of people saying about this Leafs team, okay, they want to run it back next year. They want to make playoffs next year. That's not a plan. That's a goal. A plan is how you do it. The plan is we're going to trade, I know Pelley would never say this, but we were going to trade Matthew Nyes for this guy and that guy, or we're going, so he has a goal or a vision. He's going to hire someone with a plan.
Yes.
To get to that vision or goal.
That's right. Like there is no right answer to do you have a plan because nobody ever gives you their plan anyways.
Right. We don't need
right. Well, why am I going to tell you my plan?
And also, I'm hiring someone who's supposed to come up with a good plan. I just told you I don't know who these guys are.
Which essentially, again, he did. It took him a while to get there, but it's like my plan is to get somebody in here that can implement all the things that I talked about, and then go to work.
Would you like to know what went wrong in Keith Pelley's eyes this year?
Of course.
Clip 3, a little longer one.
I thought we had the right leadership in place. There are a number of factors that played into it this season. Without getting into the detail, I honestly believe that we didn't have the alignment, we didn't have the culture, we didn't have the structure that we needed to be successful. And you can point to a number of issues this year. I'm not going to talk about injuries. The only thing that I would say is we need to be better. We need to be able to adapt quicker. And we definitely didn't see the train coming, which was the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens, and how strong those two teams are, along with the likes of Detroit and Ottawa. Boston, with a strong spine, have been able to retool, and Florida and Tampa are always strong. But Buffalo and Montreal have shown that young, energetic team, they're going to be here for a long time. The prospects that they have, from Michael Hagee from Montreal to Radim Murka from Buffalo, they're strong. And they're going to be strong for a long period of time. And the Atlantic Division is a really strong division, and we're going to really have to improve and be good to compete and win the Atlantic Division again.
Wow, that's a lot there. Where do you want to start? I mentioned earlier about bringing up other teams, and I can appreciate, like, we all know that they're getting better, but they didn't keep you out of the playoffs. You stinking. Yeah. Your team's not good this year is the reason why you're not in the playoffs. It's not because they got better.
Yeah. We didn't anticipate other teams also winning games is not ideal. The one thing I would say, if I was the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and one of the criticisms of what went wrong this year was that we need to adapt quicker, I wouldn't feel great. I wouldn't feel like I was on very solid ground. To me, that is a comment about the team did not make quick adjustments, which is on the head coach.
I got to ask, what do you make of him bringing up Hage and then Hague in the press conference?
Not good.
I think he was around on trade deadline day. He said that he was around, right? Just to supervise, just to see the structure and how it. Yeah. And I feel like those may be names that he heard. Yeah. Otherwise, why would he know the depth prospects of division rivals? Anyway,
it's not good. Like you need. I've been around this. I've been around Gary Bettman long enough. Mm-hmm. They don't like that.
Well, he's just. Right? I mean, those are guys
you
that
don't,
are good players.
It's not something that'll cost you a big fine or a draft pick. It's not tampering, but it's frowned upon.
To even mention that other teams have good prospects,
it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about one of the big questions that's been looming in Leafs Nation, a rebuild or retool? All right. He alluded to that. Let's go to clip 8. Pelley, clip 8, please, Derek.
But you talked about a retool or a rebuild. The way I look at it is a rebuild is needed when you are starting from scratch. We all know that Toronto Maple Leafs have foundational pieces in place. So as a result, with those foundational pieces in place, if we're able to surround them with the right culture, with the right structure, with the right personnel, both on and off the ice, then I would say that we would be in a retool, not in a rebuild. Having said that, again, I will always wait for input from the new head of hockey operations.
So Doug Armstrong, he hires Doug Armstrong, let's just say, okay? Name that's out there. And Doug Armstrong's like, Keith, it's done, bud. Yeah. Is he listening?
Yes, he is. I mean, I think that he's stating that, someone is going to come in and he's going to take their input. I don't think he'd hire someone. However, if he doesn't want that input and that's not the direction they want to go, then maybe he doesn't want to hire that guy then. I think that's a comment about Austin Matthews, right? We just listened to him talk about Matthews. Am I wrong there?
Foundational pieces?
Well, he earlier mentioned the leadership, right? He mentioned the missed leadership on what went wrong. Mm-hmm. And then he just spoke moments ago about surrounding the foundational pieces, which is Austin, which is Willie, and which is Matthew Nyes, with the right culture. Mm-hmm. And see, this is where I differ with Keith Pelley, is that those guys are supposed to have the right culture and they're supposed to surround others around it. Keith's got it the other way around.
They are the culture.
They're supposed to be your culture.
That's always been the problem.
Okay? Yes. And he can't go and hire a general manager. I don't care if it's the greatest guy in history or an unknown. They won't come in and set your culture up for those guys. It has to be those guys setting the culture up. Mm-hmm. And that has to be addressed.
I think there's a world where, there's a real conversation to be had about can those guys be a part of a positive culture? I think Austin Matthews is a pretty smart guy and pretty flexible. You saw him really be embraced by and embrace the American team at the Olympics. And I think he can do that. Willie's a bigger question for me. Like, it's almost like if someone were to come in above Matthews and Willie, someone who meant a lot here, a huge name somehow, Willie's always just going to be Willie. And so, right, that's the quote.
I've heard that for years.
I know.
And I hate that comment, that philosophy, it's just not good enough anymore.
I know, Kip. So this is why I bring him up versus Matthews. If you're coming in here and saying we have to surround our guys with culture, I think you have to look at those guys. My point is I think Austin could be a part of a positive culture. I don't know if Willie is a foundational piece of a different culture. I think he's just going to be the guy he's been. And I like Willie, unlike you, but I totally hear that complaint. It's a very valid criticism.
Calling him a foundational piece is pretty strong for me.
Of what? Of the next group?
What I mean, of a foundation. I don't know what the foundation. I don't know what that house is looking like.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with it because there might be 31 other teams out there that could look at him and go, "Oh, I just bring him in and he could take us over the top." Yeah. So foundational meaning that these guys are game changers, game-changing talent, world-class talent, people that can bring people out of their seats, talent. And Keith's right that they are really good pieces. Either they're going to help you win in the next few years, or they can turn themselves into 2, 3, or 4 good pieces into your next wave of top end talent. So I do agree with Keith that they're not starting from scratch. They have a few pieces to work with.
For sure.
But feeling like Austin Matthews, you could still win a Stanley Cup with him leading the way, I think is a stretch at best at this point.
Yeah, really hard to sit here and disagree with that.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of that from you guys.
But like, I don't necessarily agree, but it's hard to sit here and be like, no, you're wrong.
Well, that's exactly it. It's the old.
You're not going to sit there and double down on it. Yeah. You're just going to hope, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're left with.
Whether it be Yzerman or Ovechkin or whoever, eventually you hope they figure it out.
Clip 5. How about on what the organizational structure will look like? This is an interesting one. Clip 5.
I think the way that I look at it is there's not a definitive one way to run the operation. As I said, we have the resources, so we're going to determine what is the best structure to run it. You probably know there's 12 teams that run it with a president and a general manager that separately. There's 8 teams that run it that the president and the GM is one person, and then there's 12 teams that only have a general manager. So there's no right or wrong way to actually run it. What I think we have the ability to do with the structure and the support of ownership that we have is to put a structure in place that gives us the best chance to win and gives us the best chance to have the most hockey expertise possible. I can tell you, right, because somebody asked me this internally, in terms of one of the keys to the candidate that you may be looking for, is they have to be data-centric. They have to really understand data and the importance of data and where data is moving. Right? We have just completed a complete rebuild of TFC, all using data combined with cultural checks. And
okay, so this is more up your alley. Okay.
Is Justin Bourne? Are you going to fire off your?
So
you're going to fire off your resume?
Have a chat.
I'm not in tune as
Real
much
Kyper
as
and
you are, but. My understanding is from even, Kyle's days that they're on top of this already. They have a data center. They have people aligned. Daryl Metcalf, to me, is the guy there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's the head of that department. He
so
built the website.
They have
does a lot more.
They have everything that they need out of data.
Totally.
I don't know where Keith thinks is the next level to it. Every piece of information that is out there is already available to them. If you plugged in Troy Stetcher's last 20 breakouts, how many under pressure, how many were from the left side, the right, they can get all of that like that.
Yeah.
So where's the feeling now that they've been undervalued in this area?
I think fundamentally it's that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So if you're a data department who comes to your general manager and says, we think we've got an undervalued guy in Long Island or on Long Island that we could get out of there, and they say, "Nah, I don't like him. He's soft." I think you need someone who is interested in this information and considers it.
From everything I hear, it wasn't that big of a problem for Brad Treliving.
Whether it was or it wasn't, Keith Pelley thinks that it's important for the next guy to respect it and consider it as part of the
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm surprised to hear you say that because I feel like he wouldn't have brought that up at this press conference if Brad Treliving was super open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that he went out of his way to say that tells me that there may have been, not friction, but like some disagreements on the way that is used.
What's crazy is like every team in the NHL has it now.
Of course.
It's no longer like, oh, these organizations do it, so they're getting ahead. It's like you either do it or you're behind, and I'm pretty sure every team does it. So, the next wave is finding people who can understand the information and use it to make practical decisions. I would say we can't sit here today and say, who have the Leafs dug up with their analytics department that you're like, oh, the Leafs are the smart org. They found that guy. Or that hasn't really happened, right? I mean, we haven't seen a ton of it. Big player development staff.
Probably be some Dubas
There are some Dubas era ones where they picked up a couple good guys. But as a player development staff, which is gigantic, have they done an exceptional job past the next?
No.
I don't know. Yeah. So they have some bloat, I think, where there's smart people, good people, but it hasn't produced enough for them.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, he referenced a couple times, we have the resources. And it's like, there's just a sense that because you're richer than everyone else, that you should be able to buy your way out of this.
Well, but it should give you a leg up somehow.
Should help.
Shouldn't hurt.
This is their biggest advantage, where there is a salary cap. They could
spend whatever they want. I think it's already there. It's there already, and it's been there this whole time.
Totally.
So it's
That's
not like
new.
So keep spending more, and eventually we'll buy our way into some success. I think it's too easy to think that because you're the richest team in the league, you should have this huge advantage.
But I didn't think he was saying that.
It's never been there.
That's
the way I interpreted it.
I interpreted it as we have no excuses. Like we've been doing this. We have this.
But we know that already.
Right.
we aren't giving you excuses.
I think that was his attempt at accountability.
I think what it means is that our boy Sonny should get his resume ready.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts.
I think I'd be firing it off to old Keith pretty soon here. When you're saying data, I'm sure there's a lot of guys across the league whose ears perked up pretty significantly when he heard the president of the Leafs say that.
But at the same time, it sounds like he wants someone, right, with some experience who's been around.
That's the mix. It's the hockey man at the top and the quote-unquote nerd underneath.
Dubas. Oh, my God,
no! Bring him back.
Oh, my God. Why not? Give it another try. Run it back.
Run it back.
Buddy, how many times did the Yankees hire Billy Martin?
You fire a mid-press conference.
Let's go to break. But before we go to break, little acts of kindness in a time when it seems everything is hopeless is one small thing you can make things better. And one simple act you can take today to have a direct and immediate impact on your community is donating blood at your nearest Canadian Blood Services donation center. This small act can save multiple lives. The need is always there, and it can bring a sense of contribution to a world in need of solutions. Choose a moment of hope today. Make a donation appointment by visiting blood.ca, the Give Blood app, or call 1-888-2-DONATE. You guys want to talk about the hockey game last night or no?
Oh,
nothing happened, right?
Man, I guess.
There was a hockey game last night?
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, we should take a quick break.
Punchy.
We should probably talk about Berube, too.
Yeah, we still got a ton here.
We should probably do 2 hours. Sorry, Valley, we're just doing 2 hours.
Hey?
Yeah. Anyways.
Leafs Day.
We'll hit the break and come back.
Okay. As producer Sammy just alluded to, plenty more on our conversation on the firing of Brad Treliving, CEO Keith Pelley's press conference, Gudis, Domi, and Steve Valiquette at the top of the hour. Don't go away. Real Kyper and Bourne returns after these words. It's the Leaf Hour edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. So much talk over Brad Treliving the last, 20 hours or so has left head coach Craig Berube out there. We did hear from Keith Pelley on his future. Not reassuring, but not certainly imminent in terms of Craig going anywhere at this point.
Let me ask you, though, what's the point?
But why?
Yeah, I understand that he said today if whoever comes in here is going to be a part of making the decision on who the head coach is.
Want to hear the clip? Want to hear the clip?
Yeah, let him say it.
Let's do clip 7, please. From Keith Pelley.
I think Craig Berube is the head coach, and that is determined by the general manager or the president of hockey or the head of hockey operations. That's not decided by myself. So his role of the hockey club doesn't change today, other than the fact is that he will work closer with Brendan Pridham and Ryan Hardy. Once we have a new head in hockey in place, if that recommendation is around Craig Berube at that particular time, we will listen, and something as big as Craig Berube would go all the way to ownership.
Wow.
All the way
to so he gets to say on the general manager, but not the coach, and the coach goes to ownership. You'd think it would be the other way around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Based on the importance of
don't
the
make
job.
no sense.
But I think that it would go to ownership as just like, hey, we've made this decision. Are we cool with, spending this money sort of thing? Not like, do you think we should fire the coach sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
He still goes, I don't think, does Brad have an extension past this season?
I don't know. I think it's
Brad had one more year, I think.
Craig has more than 1 year.
I think 2 more years.
So maybe that's
The Berube thing, to me, I've long believed that a good coach can take a average roster and gain you 5 wins over the course of a season. I think a bad coach can really hurt your team. And I don't even mean that Craig is a bad coach here when I start this whole thing. I mean that you have to establish buy-in, and he hasn't done that. The guys have not bought in to what he's trying to do. So you have to have a fresh start next year. You just have to.
Can I ask you guys
the
this?
losses look so much the same over the course of the season, where they're just like every defensive mechanism is amongst the worst in the league.
Yes.
And to your point, like that, you got to find a way to look different.
You do. You just need to do it different.
Can I ask you guys why not just, I know that the timing was weird, and I guess he was afraid of the leaks or whatever that was happening last night, and they wanted to get ahead of it and blah, blah, blah. But could you not have just made an announcement today that both of them are done?
It felt like Tree forced their hand.
Into what?
Berube didn't. Into saying, hey, if I'm gone, just let me go.
So,
Berube could too, or maybe he's wants to validate
so you're gonna make him do just let him go.
I made the comment last night that I just think for one more night, Treliving announcement could have become at 10 or 11 a.m. or noon today.
The next day?
Yes, and have Berube included in that.
But I mean, so
I think Keith tried to be respectful, I think, to Brad, and he's probably doing the same thing for Berube with 7 games to go.
Yeah. If I'm talking to Pelley right now, maybe he would say, what's the point? We're just trying to get to the end of the year now. He's the coach. We pay him to coach. Let's just get to the end of the year and sort it out. And you do have the angle that you're going to have someone new come in and officially make that decision. I guess there's a chance that you hire someone who says, I got to have him.
How many times does that happen
0.
where a guy comes in and gets inherited a coach?
What's funny is Doug Armstrong is so heavily rumored to come here, and he just fired him.
Didn't he do that with Hartley or somebody he took over and they kept the coach?
Well, I mean, it's happened here in Toronto.
No, but anyways, he gave him an extension.
Okay.
It's okay. Did anything else from this list that you cared about, Kyper?
You talked about bearing all the responsibility on pursuing people under contract. That was interesting. Oh, let's listen to that.
Yeah, let's have a listen to clip 10.
This is a short and sweet one.
Yep.
Clip 10.
I'm comfortable doing anything that gives the Toronto Maple Leafs the best chance to win the Stanley Cup. Period. End of story.
So the question was, are you comfortable pursuing people who are under contract elsewhere?
And I'll just add to that, happens all the time.
People get pursued under contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as it's done under the right channels, right?
What are the right channels? And I mean that sincerely, not.
The right channels is you either call an owner or someone just underneath them, and you simply ask, I have interest in so-and-so. Would you grant me permission to talk to him? And that's it.
Yeah.
And then
the Dallas Stars said, Jim, new contract in your office today.
yeah, I mean, that's
how that works.
that's how it works. And that's it. And it's either yes, no, or let me get back to you.
That's like when Sportsnet got the NHL rights for the first time and everyone at TSN got a new contract in the next week.
Honestly,
Yeah.
like the Jim Nill thing is obviously connected.
Yes.
Like there's just no way you could ever convince me that they.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think they would hide that even. There's no shame in that. Hey, other guys want our guy. We want our guy too. Here's your money.
Yeah. You can.
But
sometimes you usually hockey clubs, if they have a high-end executive that they don't have room to advance, usually get the
go ahead.
The go ahead. They get serious consideration to being let go.
The name you're hearing most is Doug Armstrong. Mike Gillis was mentioned today. That
Yeah,
was an
Friese
interesting
mentioned
one.
Mike Gillis. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants back in really badly.
Does he?
Yeah.
It's a good job.
Been a while.
Yeah, been a while.
All right, hockey game.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So
Leafs played the Ducks last night.
Yeah.
no surprise on the first shift.
I thought you had a good piece last night on the broadcast. If you missed it, people Elliot asked why Domi would be, why not Pizzetta, why whatever, and you explained.
Yeah, at usually under those circumstances, which don't come around very often, and you've got a lot of time on the back of the bus, in dressing rooms, waiting for a plane to take off. The boys would have talked about it countless times on how they wanted to handle Gudas and the first shift. And what usually happens is the guy with the most seniority gets to
throw the punches,
rule the conversation. And that would have been Max at 800 games, followed by Carlo at 650, 700.
Carl's like, oh, please do it.
Followed by Benoit.
Oh, you can have it.
Oh, no, I don't get to fight.
Followed by Dakota.
Yeah.
Followed by Pizzetta.
Right.
And Pizzetta just has to sit there and be quiet.
You know, I got to give Gudas, who got his face caved in and then got dragged around, a lot of credit just for being there. It sounds like Gudas won't play the rest of the week is kind of what I'm hearing. Like he's hobbling around their dressing room. And
I have zero respect for Radko Gudas.
Well, that's fine.
Like, I mean, he's been flying around, throwing out knees, injuring people, getting suspended.
I don't
his
mean
whole
I
career.
respect the way he plays, but the fact that he made himself available to take a licking last night.
This is the bare minimum.
But boys, we talked about this.
Yeah.
I said, like, he's just going to sit there and, like, honestly, pull a chair up at center ice and just have them just chuck boulders at you.
So you're not allowed to throw a punch?
No, that is unheard of, Kip. I understand what you're saying. I've never seen it before.
I didn't like it at all. Now the guy's, can't play for a week.
But with his ankle, like they're dragging him around
Well,
the
it didn't
ice.
help him. It didn't help his ankle.
No, I know. But that's why it's like, I said I respect it. I guess I respect the nobility of being like, I know the code of hockey and here I am.
But yeah, I'm more confused than ever on the code.
Well, last night was the
There's
most
no
confusing
code in my book
night
that
ever.
says you have to sit there
and not fight
and
back.
take punches like that because you feel you deserve it. It's like not on my team, but not on like if I'm Pat Verbeek, that's not a proud moment for me.
Totally agree. You're your captain at center ice getting teed off on, like after crying all
And
day in the media about how I'm not a bad guy.
Thank you. May I have another?
Yeah.
And may I have another?
It's embarrassing.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Radko's embarrassing in general.
The idea of, showing up, of just showing up and being there for that, though, like it's not nothing to me. They continued to get, jumped by Pizzetta. McCabe tried to go at him. Good for the Leafs. I am a little fascinated by the whole, you see, there's a headline today. Leafs and Ducks combined for 85 penalty minutes. It's like I've seen that in a single scrum.
The most under
85.
the most under Brad Treliving.
Was it really?
I don't think any game's gone past that many penalty minutes.
And I was thinking around the NHL, it's probably less common to see a 9-goal game than it is to see an 85 PIM game. Like it wasn't a circus.
So I missed Sean McKenzie. Did he speak of Troy Terry being the only guy in NHL history to have played 50 games,
0 hits,
and have 0 recorded hits?
And I think he has 73 games or something. Like he's got a lot.
Please tell me you can accidentally bump somebody.
I would hang up my gear. I think that's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever heard. You're a forward. You've never been in on the forecheck.
The hometown scorer's got to give him a hit. Sorry, give him.
Oh my gosh, I mean, like that. You can't even accidentally on purpose ever do that or predict it, that you could.
How many
get
does
there.
Willie throw a year? 70?
No way. How many does Willie have this year? No way.
I don't know that but whatever the number, my God.
What a strange stat.
Sell myself as a tough guy, but I bump into someone every game.
Nah. I don't know if I want to get. I thought them throwing Pizzetta out was a joke last night. I think like
but you know
abusive officials.
Pizzetta is out there, like it's a short leash.
Sure.
Okay, and like just it's not overly shocking that they threw him out.
I think it's good game management when you're worried about the game going a certain way.
It's game management, which is one of the things that pisses people off the most about NHL officiating, where
to wait till it happens.
Well, the fact that he got screamed at by the ref after trying to go at a guy, which this happens 100 times a year.
Yeah.
The fact that this happened, and then so he goes to the box, and Wes McCauley's like, "Time to make it about me," and goes over and throws him out. Look at, he gets yelled at, off to the box, and then they sit there and they think about it.
Good job by Ryan Gibbs. That line, he did a good job.
You guys are both hockey players. You've been in 100 scrums in your lives. That's the most soft, abusive official call I've ever seen. And it's
definitely preemptive.
It's more protecting the Ducks. It's more like so the Leafs address. They finally dress a goon.
It's just avoiding the trouble. Sam.
I'm sure they would have. I'm sure they would have tossed somebody out in Florida, and they have a zoo.
I don't think they care
every time.
I'm dying to give
1 second.
The stat on Willie hits.
What is it?
9.
9
this year?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's 9 times.
Matthias Michelli has 19.
I wanted to ask you about Stolarz there.
I hope that official can recover from that abuse, because that was really bad.
Stolarz bumping
Husso.
Yeah.
Husso.
Yeah.
Like
Stolarz, who's been made of rock candy.
Buddy, I'm like,
years. I liked it. So
please tell me.
Good.
Please tell me that hit he took last night was harder than the one he took from Bennett.
Yeah, but
okay?
I mean, but Kip, you know how it is with like heads. It's not like it's like an awkward whatever. If he's good to go, he's good to go. Yeah, he definitely took a pretty good lick there.
So you can get up from that and almost get into a fight.
Come on. What are you trying? What's the point you're trying to make here? That he wanted
point
the
is,
playoff game that they don't need in?
That's the only case we make it. That he
I don't know
wanted
about
out
this
in the
guy.
playoffs.
I don't know this guy. Right? It's unpredictable. You don't know whether 1 second he's at the hospital, he's going to leave, or he's going to want to fight a goalie.
I would have loved to see. Stolarz got it. Is he the biggest goalie in the league? Must be.
You can't be that worried about your head or your neck if you want to go and fight a goalie.
He wants to be a part of it. He wants in.
Yeah, so let's just all say a prayer for that official after that abuse.
Dakota Joshua, 188 hits, first on the Leafs.
Pizzetta was trying to get that last night.
He was
running around. Yeah. I loved it.
I told you, I love Pizzetta. I loved him before the season.
You couldn't have got 20 games this year?
No.
All right. We'll get Steve Valiquette's thought on all of this, including Allmark. Back in net tonight. Well rested. Steve Valiquette. When we return, we go national next on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Do not go away. All right. Right back at you as we go national on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet, as always, 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, and streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. If you miss our show live, at your convenience, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the ever-reliable YouTube, where we love the chats and the thumbs up. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. In a few minutes, Steve Valiquette for his regularly scheduled Tuesday, in which I'm still in last place on grill
Not
time.
by much. I haven't got a point in about 3 weeks. So.
Ooh, I like that.
Didn't we? Did he send out the leaderboard?
I haven't seen
Not
it.
lately.
I haven't seen a
No, he
new
did.
set of faces.
He's
He
a
did. He
he's a
did.
busy guy.
My mentions are crazy today.
What are people on about?
Just Leafs. I just
Leafs did some stuff. If you're an NHL watcher, Brad Treliving fired yesterday.
Yep. And
Yeah,
I went on
the
Va-
rankings are 35,
Yep.
34, 32. There you go. Put it right there.
yep. Vancouver fans are kind of wondering a little bit as well on what ultimately will go down there. Jimmy Rutherford, of course, Patrick Alvin still there. I did mention in my Sportsnet.ca yesterday that there's not a real strong feeling one way or another, but there is a feeling that there's going to be changes. To what degree, we don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Rutherford, 77 years old. What kind of rebuild where's his appetite for the long haul?
I re-upped what I said about Gary Bettman the other day. I love Jim Rutherford. Like, don't you like fishing or something? I don't know. He made lots of money now.
Don't you like golf?
But he could have been fishing a long time
I know.
ago.
He's done great.
Yeah,
Great career.
Cups.
Yeah.
With Sid. Life's probably great.
Yeah, get a ticket to like 8 games a year. Check in.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Special advisor
Maybe
to
I'm
the
just
special
showing my
advisor.
own
Yeah.
what I would do. But anyway, so fascinating times
And,
around the league
you know,
as big
wh-
decisions get made.
We know Nashville needs a general manager. We don't know what's going to happen in New Jersey. A lot of questions about Detroit, and ultimately, if they miss again, would they dare make any changes there?
Tonight, they play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Detroit-Pittsburgh. Monster game. Another couple of big ones. The Islanders play the Buffalo Sabres. Like, there's big matchups in the East today. Philly, Washington, if you're into that sort of thing.
What did you make of Pittsburgh in
Putting
the
the
island?
boots to the
Yeah,
Islanders?
what happened? Up 3-1 comfortably?
Yeah, I would say I am curious about why the Islanders sometimes just can't defend. I like a lot of their defenders, so I can't quite make sense of their defensive lapses. But anyway, we got the man.
You know who would be really good at answering how Sorokin allows 7 goals?
Yeah,
Is
I do.
our next guest. Analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG, Clear Sight Analytics, the star of Tuesday, our very own Steve Valiquette. How are you, buddy?
Very nice to see you, boys. How are we?
The Star
good.
of Tuesday.
We're
I
good.
like that title.
Okay, so what do you make of Sorokin? Did he lose awards last night?
Not yet. Not yet. He's still a top guy. But, you know, it's funny, guys. We've seen this with a lot of the teams, a lot of the players. Right when they're pushing to the top, it's almost like they're tripping over the line because of the expectations that come with the scrutiny, the intensity of being there, just holding the line, or teams that have gone on these massive runs, like you think of Columbus, and then at the end, you know, they find themselves tripping over their own skates as well. It's not just Sorokin, it's not just the Islanders. I think we're seeing it with Detroit. We're seeing it with Ottawa. We're seeing it in the West. We saw Seattle fall out the last couple of weeks. Nashville's in, but now that Nashville's in with expectations, do they stay in? And LA's close. I'm looking at LA's schedule, and they've got 6 home games in a row coming up. They only have 1 game in April against a playoff-bound team in Edmonton. So with the Islanders, what I've seen is a blood and guts team, a comeback again on the weekend that I was watching against Boston. And I'm just like, I love this team right now. I know that they're going to be able to find a way. It just seems like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, rather than 2 steps forward, 1 step back. for whatever reason, tripping over themselves just a little bit.
So I guess there's some large stories around the league for us to ask you about. Vegas yesterday or day before, whatever it was, Tortorella takes over in Vegas. Their goaltending has been atrocious. But, I don't think they have 3 atrocious goaltenders there. They got some guys who are okay, Valley. Can things be salvaged there?
Can Torts play net?
Well, it's interesting because I played for Bruce Cassidy. I played for Torts.
Oh.
The thing with Bruce, guys, is that, I know he's not well liked, and I didn't like him, but that goes with an asterisk, because I have this belief that when I ask my former, teammates and friends in hockey who their favorite coaches are, and if I look at their hockey DB, it always aligns with their career years.
Totally.
So I had a bad year under him. But I can tell you, he was the kind of coach that you're walking through the hallway and you give him a good morning, and he just looks right through you and keeps walking. I just feel like I'm already playing terrible right now.
Yeah.
I need something, So I can remember once where I was getting sent down, but the day before I got pulled in a game with Bruce Cassidy as my coach, and he brings me into his office and he says, "You know what your issue is? You think you're too good to be here." Now, this was when I was in the East Coast League my second year. And it was my issue. I was having a hard time being in the East Coast League after having a good enough year the year before. And he says, "Now you're not good enough to be here. You're going to sit for the next 2 weeks behind Buyar Amadovsky, really good goalie that I played against in the OHL. We're good friends. This guy he was a nasty goalie. And now I get sent home. I'm just driving home, and I could have taken my vehicle right off the road. When I get there, there's a sign posted on my front door from my roommate, Scott Bertoli, that says, 'Call Butch.' And I'm like, what else could this guy say to me right now?" So I call him up and he says, "Valley, sometimes good things happen to people when they deserve them." Well, this isn't the case right now.
Come on.
Swear to God. Then he goes, Wade Flaherty just blew his shoulder up on the island. Luongo's going up. You're going to the American Hockey League. The hardest part about leaving Trenton for me was not squealing my tires on the way off the driveway.
And did you ever play in the East Coast League again?
That was it. And I had a good run with in the AHL, and I played my first game in the NHL a couple months later. So things can happen and turn that quickly. But Bruce Cassidy, he's tough. I heard for months, even years now, that he's been wearing on the guys in Vegas, and that's going to happen. But he's won a championship, and he's going to get hired probably next week. And Torts, guys, when I played for Torts, he is the guy that can come in and change it right away. And the thing with Torts is he's going to come in and he'll change things. Like there was a time where we had like the doctors in the gym and the elliptical next to us. We'd be walking into meetings with breakfast sandwiches. Like the country club closes with Torts. Like he buttons it up tight, but to a certain degree, his honesty can be misguided, and one thing that he did in our first meeting when he came over was he kind of took Marcus Naslin's legs out from underneath him and said a few things that were very belittling in front of the group. And we're like, he didn't have to go there on Nazi. Nazi actually gave his next year's contract up. He didn't even take he had a $5 million, I think it was $5.5 million deal the next year. He just retired.
Wow.
He didn't want to play under those conditions. And then Torts, of course, brings me into the office. And this is after I played 15 games the year before. I know exactly what my role is. And he goes, "Valley, I just want to talk to you about your role." I'm like, "Okay, I already know 15 games. Like I'm playing behind the best goalie in the NHL right now." And he goes, "You're going to play the games that we don't think we can win. And if it's not going well, you're not going to get saved either, because I'm not going to risk my number one." I'm just like,
yeah, he's like, "You're meat, bud. Get in the net."
It was the worst thing he could have said to me. Like I felt like I wasn't even a part of the team anymore. So the honesty can be misguided. And that's where a short burst of Torrance can be really good, but he just goes a little too far sometimes, as much as I like playing for him.
Bruce Cassidy has that reputation of being really hard on the players too, Valley, and to the point where I think in Boston, a few of them shut it down as well. The story is maybe Krejci, would rather have left than go back to a demanding coach like that. But now you're bad cop, not bad cop to a good cop, or, a softer guy that maybe we often see when there's coaching changes. Yeah. So, is this going to work?
Well, the thing with Torts is, Kyper, as much as you may not like him, his honesty is rooted in the right spot, and you want his respect. I can't explain that exactly, but I'm sure you guys played for coaches where, I really want this guy's respect because, he drives hard, but he is an honorable man. But at the same time, in 2009, we're up 3-1 against Washington. He's talking about discipline, and then he throws a Gatorade bottle at a fan and gets suspended, and we lose the series after being up 3-1.
Yeah.
So he just goes over his own line, is what Torts does. And I think that after all these years, you are what you are. How many people really change in life? In fact, I think my biggest weaknesses get worse as I age.
I think a lot of people have that theory that you become more of who you really are as you get older. So Torts is going to lean into it. Although he is wearing a suit, which was a shocker. Looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs here, obviously big news with the Treliving out. They're going to pick a new head of hockey ops. I don't know, Valia. I'm not even going to be too specific. Just wanted to get your thoughts on what's gone down with the Leafs organization.
You know what I think, Bourne? So I was talking to a good friend of mine, really good hockey guy in Connecticut that loves the Leafs. His name's Steve Rosenkrantz. And Steve, I call him up sometimes just to talk Leafs because this guy watches every minute as closely as you guys do. And, he said to me, when I watch other games around the league, nobody has more difficulty getting out of their own zone. First pass, clean, exits, and then getting through the neutral zone without getting stopped. And I was like, well, that's a really good lead. And he told me this before the Rangers played the Leafs last week. And I go into, as Kyper refers to, my little computer, and I look for a few stats on how unsettled offense would support what the Leafs are doing. Now, again, unsettled offense would be when the Leafs do give the puck away, how quickly does it turn into a scoring chance against them? Or how many times do they get hemmed in on a forecheck and then a scoring chance is against them? Or a neutral zone stop in transition, a back checking chance, giveaways, takeaways, all of that hockey that we watch that is just unsettled. It's not controlled hockey. Well, they led the league as of last week, and I just checked up on it. They've given up more goals than any other team in the NHL in unsettled offense. They've given up 340 some chances in unsettled offense. And I'm watching the Leaf Ranger game last week through that lens. And what am I seeing? I'm seeing one giveaway after another. You can remember the first period, Mika Zibanejad right on his tape from Carlo, scoring opportunity. So it put my package together for my intermission because I was working the games as you guys were. And, I think that what I'm going to settle on here, guys, for advice, if I'm Keith Pelley, you got to find out what playing style you want to go with. So what playing style do you want to go with? Do you want to be an offensive rush team? Do you want to play Colorado Avalanche hockey when they won in 22? Or do you want to play Florida Panthers? We're not going to give up anything against off the rush. We're going to own you in unsettled offense because Florida's the best team in unsettled offense, creating off the forecheck, etc. So you're trying to do one of those two things, because when I've gone back now, guys, all the way to COVID with Tampa winning twice, there's really only been two styles that have won in the NHL. And the one outlier has been Vegas, because they did have Aiden Hill at the time on a heater. He had a .935 save percentage, but he really went on a heater. They defended with the big D in front of him and net front, packed it in. But they didn't have that rush offense, and they didn't really own anybody on the transition offense of unsettled. So when I look at the way the Leafs are formulating their next plan, they have to settle on, what is our playing style going to be? What type of team are we going to be? What's our playing style that we can be with what we currently have if we're going to turn it over on a retool, and get the right general manager in here with the right coach so we're on the same page, because that hasn't happened yet. You guys know that.
Valley, we heard from CEO of MLSE, Keith Pelley, today, and he did speak specifically about data centers and wanting to go to the next level. And we assume that the Leafs are already one of the leaders in this. And, Justin brought up the point, well, maybe it was just embraced enough out of Brad Treliving, and we're just speculating at this point because we don't know what we don't know. Yeah. But ultimately, where is this heading for the next guy coming in? Because certainly it did lend towards Keith Pelley saying, I need someone to go to this a little more often. But where is that fine line between hockey guy, gut instinct, and letting a computer decide on who should start your next night?
The computer never decides. The computer only leads you to video. And, look, if I was to have it my way, I would have player development, understand that there's a conduit that they have to be to the coaching staff. And that could mean, this player here is the best at screening the goalie well, getting deflections on goal. He should be a centerpiece of our power play. Let's just say that Eriksson Ek is available next year and Toronto wants a net front player. Like, he's the best in the league. And then there are a few other options below him, but let's look at those 7 options and see if we can't take something from Eriksson Ek right now and put that into this new guy's hands. But you only get there if player development and coaches are talking on the same page. And that would have to be, we're talking right now on power play. And then the coaching staff would have to be able to take the information they're getting between the periods, which really illustrates the scoring chance types, as in what types of chances are we giving up? Are they all in transition? Are they happening in unsettled offense, which would, again, lead us to not being able to get out quick enough? Or are they chances that, we're having difficulty off the face-off tonight, but they're all isolated. The problem with a lot of the data out there right now is that it's just telling you that it came from the middle of the ice, and it's not categorized by title. And that's the difference. You can't just say we have to protect the middle of the ice. That doesn't mean anything to me, because a pass coming from the same side of the ice to a one-timer is not nearly as valuable as one going across the ice for a one-timer. So without that information, without that detail, you can't differentiate the two. The managers have to be on the same page as the coaches so that we can have this organizational philosophy work with the proper players. But it is 3 prongs, guys. It's player development, which includes goalie development, the coaches, and the managers. And the coaches, their practices have to be managed in a way that these skills can improve so that we can be a better team. But not enough teams are doing it, guys. Not enough. I mean, a handful of teams are doing it.
Yeah. The one I wanted to make sure we got in today in our segment was we've done a lot of Allmark talk over the years with you, and just wanted to make sure we got in a chat, because last week, a few days ago, Saturday night, he misses a game where they're in the thick of a playoff race, and the coach says we want to play him every night, and you sent a tweet that basically a lot of people. Everyone who ever played hockey agreed with. Basically, it was Glenn Hall played 502 consecutive games, and this guy just hasn't been able to be available, whatever the cause, and that's part of goaltending. I don't know. Just wanted the Allmark thing. Where are we at on this?
Well, I think they've gone past the point now, because where do you go from here without doing something, getting somebody else in here next year? I can't imagine this team not making the Stanley Cup playoffs with how good of a season they've had. Travis Green, he should be up for Coach of the Year, without question. Since the Olympic break, they have played, I'm looking at a sheet here, guys, in front of me. They played a game against the Rangers last week where they have 9 high dangers. The Rangers have 1. The game against the Islanders, they have 8-3. They're 9-5 against San Jose, 15-7 against Anaheim. When you have a difference of plus 8 high danger chances in a game, you should never lose. You should never lose. You're looking,
right.
And so the fact that they're even in this position, Bourne, Linus Allmark, it's not for everybody, right? Like, I know there's a sensitivity here that you have to have for mental health, but that sort of doesn't belong to sports. Like, it just doesn't. You don't get all the way through unless you are mentally tough. It's a prerequisite to the position. So I don't trust you as a manager right now. And I'm sure the coaches, as much as they love his A game, they can't stand the infrequency. And what do you think that does for the players? You know, it kills the team. It kills everybody's energy. And it's very difficult to believe in anything changing in the future. The only predictor of future performance is past performance and behavior. And what we've seen up until this point doesn't lead you to believe that he's going to be there for you. And that's the reality of it. I think they have to move on. So, and to me, I think he's stuck on whether he still wants to be a hockey player or not.
Valley, we've seen various degrees over the years where some volunteer their information on mental health and some will go privately and not bringing it up at all. We know where Allmark is with his interview with TSN and that exclusive one-on-one on his challenges with mental health. So when we hear of him needing a rest in a critical game against Tampa Bay, is it fair for Ottawa fans to ask if this is related to mental health, or is that on the side and he's just a regular player who just needed a rest? Do the fans deserve to know if one has to do with the other at this point because you've already volunteered it publicly?
Well, we're all blue collar workers to a certain degree, and I don't care where you work. You know, look at my job here. I get paid by the game, not in salary. If I'm not here tonight, I don't get my appearance fee. Do you know how many games that I've missed in 12 years at MSG? Zero.
Yeah, zero.
You know, and
cheap bastard.
This guy loves money.
No, well, if he didn't have a guaranteed salary and it was based on games and practice, I can guarantee you he'd be there every day.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a soft landing for the professional athlete to be able to hide behind that paywall, and that's where it's dangerous. This conversation is always, you open this Pandora's box and it goes, you used to get called the P word if you didn't play, okay? And you'd have to prove you were injured with something like a sling or a hard cast, you know? And like, I remember hearing from Scotty Nichol, and he was saying Matt Sundin came in the locker room and saw a young guy on the trainer's table with a sore shoulder, and Matty Nichol goes, you know, Sundin says, "What's wrong with the shoulder?" And the guy's like, "Oh, I got this going on here." And Sundin just looks at him and goes, "Yeah, me too." And he walks out of the training room. You know?
That's great.
Like,
that's really good.
Like, that's the way it used to be. We used to shame guys for being on the table.
My junior coach took my crutches away. I had like a hairline fracture in my foot. He's like, "It'll never heal using those."
Oh, and
hairline.
We all have these stories. We all have. I remember being in an Islander practice. I open up my foot to make a save, and a guy from the corner shoots it. It goes off the inside of my foot, my instep, in my head right away. Broken. Like, I just know what broken feels like.
Yeah.
You know? So sure enough, I go to our coach. I'm like, "Hey, I think I just broke my ankle." And then, you know, the next day and the next 3 days, we've got games. And he's like teasing me like, "Valley, is your ankle okay? How's your bruise? Are you going to be all right?"
Sure no, my bone's broken.
Sure enough, get an X-ray, MRI, broken, 8 weeks. You know, like that's just totally different the way we were. But not to say it was better, and I don't want to sound like a knuckle dragger, but you know, at the same degree, we're playing football on ice here, boys. We got to man up.
Yep. Going to be some contact along the way.
You know, I know we're going to get to grill time here momentarily, but just your thoughts about that whole Toronto, Anaheim, Gudas, Austin Matthews, how it played out, and you know, watching Gudas off the opening faceoff to get into the longest fight without throwing a punch I've ever seen in the history of the game.
What was that? You were a fighter. Was he not trying to throw and just show honor by receiving?
I think that might be valid.
But it's never I've never heard of that in all my years at any level.
That was the only thing I could take from that.
Everybody has said it immediately. We all said, did he just try? Did he just take his lumps? Like, I've never heard of that. I think he just got his face caved in, and now it's like I was doing the noble thing. You know, like I meant to do that.
He didn't throw a single punch. I didn't know what to make of that. I felt like I was back in the American League. One of the sobering feelings for me was getting sent back to the American League after being up in the NHL at the end of my career. and getting to the back of the bus, and it was all like 19 and 20-year-olds. I'm like, whoa, what happened to the back of the bus? It used to be NHLers back here.
Nope.
You know, like, and they were all setting up their fights going into Hershey. And I was like, what are we doing?
Setting up fights.
Yeah. And so it was like, that was the American League at the time. And at any rate, it felt like one of those rehearsal fights, WWE style. Anyhow, I thought it was bizarre.
Okay, one more, and then we'll get to grill time. The Flyers, they're right in this thing.
Yeah, they're shocking to me because, okay, they've got a wildly offensive offensive rush game, and defensively, they don't mind just trading with you. I watched the game the other night, and Harrison is just spitting out one rebound after another. He wasn't very good in net, but he got the job done. Vladar, when he goes in, keeps things steady. But I'm wondering if it's what I said off the top. Are they going to get right there and then find a new way to disappoint their fans? Because that's what I see with them. They get right there and then find a new way to disappoint you. And I think they're really one of 5 or 6 teams right now that are doing this song and dance where they trip over the wild card line.
It's funny. So, their last 2 games of the year are Carolina, Montreal. So you could see them getting close and then just taking 2 straight to the nose to end the season and losing.
Yes, I feel like somebody's going to trip in. Nobody's just taking it,
Yeah.
and we've seen a lot of that in this year, both East and West.
Yeah.
So, anyhow,
lot of love for Montreal. Hold on, well, just a lot of love for Montreal right now with Suzuki and Caulfield and what they're doing.
Yeah. Geez, what did I just see? Caulfield. How many goals he had now? 45?
47 maybe.
46, yeah. And then McKinnon is 48, I think.
Because I remember being on with you guys a couple of weeks ago saying this is definitely going to be a career high for him. Well, his career high keeps getting higher. But you know what? They have a lot of good energy. You know, boys, I'm experiencing it right now with the Rangers. They call up Sakura, Hemlosh, like these guys that are Hartford guys. We have 6 of them. They bring in that new energy. And you know what Montreal is going through? They're going through that phase of the 3 E's. It's like the early excitement. Everybody's happy to be in the NHL still. They got a young vibe. They got great energy. And they've got a good balance between the excitement, the entitlement, and not really anybody in their lineup that's nearing the end. So I always think about that as, like, guys, if you saw me in my first year pro versus my 8th year versus my 15th year, you got a different personality on each visit.
Yeah.
Like I was at different stages of my career. There were times when I realized, especially when I got to like year 9 and 10, I'm like, I got to make some money. I don't have that much time left. Like, you know, and that's where the entitlement comes in a little bit. And I took a big deal to go to Russia just to make some money. And I think that sometimes those lines get crossed, and at some point they'll get crossed in Montreal. But there is definitely value in understanding where the timeline is with your team. Early excitement, entitlement, and then the ending.
Totally.
All right. We're good to go, my friend.
All right, grill it up.
Okay. I'm going to start with the worst save percentage on the low catch and glove, because we've seen so many low glove goals this year. It's become the new honey hole. And the 3 goalies that have allowed the most goals, low glove, Askarov, Dostal, or Dobish.
Askarov, Dostal, or Dobish.
I'm jumping the queue here. It's Askarov.
Okay, I'll do Dobish just to mix it up.
I'll do Askarov too. He's got the right hander, doesn't he?
He does, but it's Dobish.
Hey,
right
the kid's
back
back
at
on
ya.
back on the board.
Right back.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
That's
All right, so we're going to stick to scouting reports. Worst low blocker. Worst low blocker. We've got on this list Greaves, Swayman, Saros.
They're good goalies.
I know.
Really good goalies.
But if you were paying attention to the highlights the last few nights, you would have seen a few low blocker on this guy.
Greaves. Who's the middle one?
Greaves
Sorry?
for sure. Greaves for sure.
Greaves, Swayman, and Saros.
I go Saros.
I'll take Swayman.
Swayman has
Hey!
21 times under his
2-0.
blocker.
I just feel like
Close to
Saros
the
is too
NHL
short
this
to have
year.
a bad blocker, low blocker.
Wow.
Okay. Another list that Saros is on. Worst high glove side. Saros, Dostal, Wolf.
Give me Wolf.
Dostal.
I'll go Wolf. He's had a tough year.
It's going to be Wolf.
Good call, Wolf.
God, this is
right.
bad for me.
Yeah.
I'm ruined.
Yeah, so 42 times he's been beat over the glove. Like, the interesting thing with Wolf, guys, coming off of last year and looking at the amount of opportunity teams have with time and space on high danger chances, and if you have a smaller goalie, it's just not a look that works out, because he's got the space between the shoulders and the crossbar, and then you add more high danger chances and you add time and space, and it's been lethal. Calgary is in a massive rebuild here with the scoring chances that they're allowing, and the goalies mask it up to a certain degree, but it's catching up to them.
Awesome stuff, Valley.
Valley,
You're the best.
I'm exhausted.
You're on the broadcast tonight, I take it?
Yes, sir. Just got my hair highlighted. I'm ready to go.
You look. Rangers got who? Who they got tonight?
Devils.
Devils?
Yeah.
Devils.
Don't say anything about Jack Hughes.
All right.
Oh, I'm going to get brutalized on Twitter today.
Hughes 4-goal game incoming.
Valley, you.
Oh, every time. I just get owned.
We hope you and your frosted tips have a great night, my friend.
Oh, we will.
Looking sharp,
All
fella.
highlights.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
That is Steve Valiquette, analyst with the New York Rangers on MSG, and of course, the CEO, the big cheese.
Real
of
talk here, and I'm not even being
I'm bad now.
Clear Sight
Bad
Analytics.
grill marks for your boy there.
not even remotely, whatever here. Why would someone doing a GM search, would they not talk to Steve Valiquette? And I'm not just boostering the boy because
He's the first 5 calls I'm making. He's
it's like this
Yeah.
guy.
He's not that great on TV. I think that's the reason.
This guy knows the league in and out. He pores over the stuff. He's thoughtful.
Yep.
He's been around the league forever. Like, how is that not a conversation? I don't know. Personable guy, could talk to the GMs. What am I missing? Oh, he hasn't done it before? Okay. Well, I tell you, a lot of guys who have done it before who are doing a terrible job. So, anyway, next.
So what you're saying is just not that hard of a job.
No, I'm not. I'm saying there are more than 32
Yes. No,
people who can do it.
I would hire him tomorrow, and I would hire him and then figure out where best to use him. Just get him.
Totally. That's exactly.
Just get him.
So, a quick story. When I was with the Leafs and Marlies, they had Barb Underhill as the skating coach.
Yep.
And so, she was like the one at the time. Like, everyone wanted to work with Barb.
Yep.
And so she works for the Leafs in the morning, and they're playing Tampa Bay this next day. And
Stamkos, right?
well, yeah. So after the Leafs are on, Barb is out there with Tampa Bay. And so I'm saying, if she's that great, and I believe that she was, why wouldn't we give her $1 million and say no one else gets to use her? She's, like you pay to, so not everyone has access. And I know they had Darryl Belfry, who was a skills coach. They worked with all the teams. Or you claim to be an organization with all this money. Use it to hoard the good ones.
Yep.
Hoard the good people.
It's game time, presented by Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. 2 big ones tonight. First of all, Detroit in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. God, all these games are huge for Detroit. They are desperate for some wins. Minus 115 for the Red Wings on the one side of the money line. Pittsburgh minus 105 on the other side. Really good one in Tampa tonight. Montreal down there to take on the Lightning.
Ooh.
Plus 145 for the Montreal Canadiens on the money line.
Canadiens win the division.
Yeah, they're really good. I said that they might miss the playoffs this year at the start of the year. I was very wrong.
The more I think about that Canadiens roster, boy, they're cup contenders.
Yep. In Florida, another massive one for another Canadian team. Ottawa Senators, Linus Ullmark will get the start tonight. They are huge faves against the straight-up tanking Florida Panthers. Minus 185 on the money line. Florida Panthers plus 155.
Florida rested their equipment manager.
Yeah, everyone's like, we're out.
And no one's participating.
Anyways, that was Game Time, presented by Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, let's take a quick break. As you alluded to, 10 games on tap. We'll touch on a few more.
And just an update, if you're a soccer fan, while you guys were talking to Steve Valiquette, I had the second half of Bosnia versus Italy to see who's going to go on to play Canada.
Give us an
Bosnia
announcement.
has just eliminated Italy in a penalty shootout.
No. No.
They just eliminated
No,
them
we don't get
in
the dream matchup.
Italy will not be coming to BMO Field. They are not taking part in the World Cup. They have been eliminated
That's
in penalty shooting.
devastating for so many people here in Toronto.
Oh, sorry, Italy. I guess you guys won't have to pretend to cheer for Italy when you're from Canada. Oh, you guess you have to cheer for your actual country now. Sorry. Well, that's too bad.
And I was
Eat it.
I was going to have pasta tonight, too.
Yeah, was that directed right at Matt Marchese?
It's directed at everyone. Everyone that works at Sportsnet,
You
actually.
all know who you are.
All right.
Ciao, Italy. Ciao.
More of Sammy when we
That's a
return
cackle.
after the break. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. The Dallas Stars have extended the contract of general manager Jim Nill for 2 more years. You like Dallas? You like their chances? Still.
He consistently runs an organization. Is my mic on? My light
Yeah,
is
you're
not
good. You're
functional.
good.
All right. He consistently runs an organization that wins, that's competitive. He really did a good job bridging the Ben Sagan era Dallas Stars into sort of this new iteration that now has Robertson and Wyatt Johnston and, Rantanen. So he's done a great job there. Tough to argue with what he's done. 100 points with still 8 games to go. They're very good.
But are they?
They're one of the 5 best teams in the NHL.
Are they better than Colorado? Can this lineup, and Rantanen was a huge commitment, and then the signing.
It doesn't cost anything.
Is it? Are they ready to challenge?
Yeah, I mean, they're. Do I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup? I don't.
No,
I don't.
They could be out in the first round
for sure.
I think you guys are underestimating the Dallas Stars. They could absolutely win the Cup in that conference.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you have to beat 2 really good teams, but like,
I take it Wyatt Johnson's their number 1 centerman, right?
I think they're pretty good.
Is he ready to go head to head?
Got 40 goals this year. He's
I know,
not a bum.
but is he ready to go head to head?
Maybe not. Maybe you lose there, but you also have some places where you're stronger that maybe other teams aren't. Miro Heiskanen, Essa Lindell, Thomas Harley. They got some guys in the back end. You believe in Ottinger?
So Wyatt Johnson and Matt Duchene right now, and Rupe Hintz is out, but
can you list me the Minnesota Wild centers?
Yeah, the only case you have is that Colorado's better, but I think Colorado's better than everyone. So they're in first.
Yeah.
Like, could it be Edmonton, Colorado, Edmonton, Dallas again in the conference finals? Like, do you think that they could beat Edmonton this year? Yes, absolutely. Like, I think they are as well run as any team in the league in terms of them drafting, bringing guys in terms of turning guys over, developing.
They just haven't won that.
They just haven't won yet, but they're really good.
I know they're good. McKinnon, Brock Nelson, and Kadri, 1, 2, 3. That's what Dallas is going to have to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
that's a big challenge.
Sorry. Yeah. I sent an incendiary tweet about Italy, and some of the responses are really making me laugh. So
Sam is really loving that fans of Italy
You're
soccer have to cheer for Canada.
You're not welcome to Little Italy. You cannot go over there for dinner.
The finest parts of Toronto right there.
I think I could. I think I could. They'll all be put on their Canada jerseys.
What happens to Jason Robertson?
That's going to be a fun one to watch. They haven't committed to him. I think the Leafs dive in with both feet on that one. By the way, these contracts that Rantanen got $12 million, Marner got $12 million. These are going to be peanuts, just peanuts in the next 5 years. Those guys are going to be bargain basement. So
what does Jason Robertson get then if you're
Probably
perfect world? And again, he's not UFA. He's got 1 year of ARB rights.
So do you think Dallas would be looking to trade him instead of pay him?
Yes, I do. I think they made the big decision to keep him at least for this year's run.
Yeah. They're going after it.
Okay, so what okay, if you're the new general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs and you're a year away and you either trade for him or you wait for him in free agency, what does Jason Robertson get on the new pay scale?
Because of who he is compared to who Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner and those types are, no one in the world thinks Jason Robertson's better than those guys, do they?
No. It's kind of weird now because you don't have to be better. You just have to be in a better spot.
More leverage.
with the cap and the percentage.
Sure. So is he going to get 12.5? Give him, what's that, $100 million?
Well, they don't have to pay him anything because they don't have to state tax, and they'll get to pay him $2.5 million less than everybody else.
I think if Dallas wants to go in the ballpark of 12 between 12 and 12 and a half, I think that's realistic for Robertson and his numbers. But if you're thinking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, they probably have to go 14.
Okay, give him
14 and a half.
Give him 14 then. You got to have talent.
Yeah.
They need a winger.
Yeah.
there's a really good article. Thomas Drance wrote it. I think it's in The Athletic. And it's on the way the salary cap is now and changing the way that people think about contracts. And as we think about contracts over the past decade, it's been flat cap, no room. How do you drive the AAV down as much as possible, right? And it's extend the years, and in many cases, give them a no move so you can bring it down a little bit. And, you do everything you could to bring it down. It's not really going to be the case. Like, I think people are going to be surprised at how, to your point that you've made, how many teams are going to spend to the cap? Half them? Less?
Yeah, I think it's a real challenge for some teams.
So teams who are willing to have a great advantage that they don't have to give as much term. They can say, come play for us for 15, 16, a number that makes people go, ugh. But then you have more flexibility if it's not working out, if you don't want to give a guy a no move. And I just think that's going to be kind of the new way we have to think about some of these guys. Pay more, less term, have more flexibility.
So what you're saying right now is that a team that generates way more money and brings way more fans to the league is able to spend more money than some of the teams that don't do anything for the league.
Interesting concept.
Wow. It's almost like every other sport ever has done that. And it's like the Leafs they've got $1 billion for the naming rights of their arena, but they've had to be able to spend. What is going on? I've just lost my train of thought. They've been able to spend $78 million on their team. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
they're about to be able to spend 130.
I do think there's going to be a wave of finally some of these bigger revenue teams will get an advantage back again.
Yeah. And I know for years the Leafs didn't wield it wisely at times, right? But I think it felt like some of the management at that time was maybe willy-nilly, like, whatever, throw it around. I think you have the opportunity to be savvy about how you deploy the money now.
Big debut in Philly tonight, boys. Porter Martone slated to make his debut. Pretty exciting, man, if you're a Philly fan. One of the top prospects in the league. You're in a playoff race.
Sounds like a fine cut of meat.
They really are kind of...
He's a
fine cut of meat.
They're kind of parading him a little bit like he could be the next kind of Celebrini for us.
Well, they're excited.
I know they're excited.
They need a guy.
But
he's got guy status.
It'll be interesting how much he plays, where his minutes are allocated. Can he give him a short boost here?
Do you think that there's some fear of not giving him opportunities after what happened with Cutter Gauthier? Like, if they could go back in time, they would re-sign. They would give Cutter.
They'd handle it differently.
Cutter's so
money.
good.
Yeah.
God.
So good.
Yeah. You know what I was saying during that game last night? He reminds me of Confident Matthews, where he just pulls the trigger at a time where you're like, oh.
Drops the shoulder.
No one even had thought that was a scoring chance, and it's in. He just shoots so much.
Yeah.
Big body.
Porter Martone in 35 games at Michigan State this year had 25 goals and 25 assists, 50 points.
Yeah. No, he's good.
78 PIMs, too. He's definitely
So if you had Martone and Gauthier,
he's an S disturber.
I don't know how great he's going to be, but...
you don't like him. You're already...
it's not that I don't like him, but there's times to overhype sometimes, guys.
Yeah.
And
6'3", 210.
I wonder if
at 19.
If maybe they're just hanging a little bit too much on this guy right away.
Can I make a bold prediction about Porter Martone?
Mm-hmm.
He will be a feature part of Team Canada in the future.
Ooh.
Like he's big, strong, kind of mean. Like he captained them already He captained them already at the last World Juniors. Yep. He's a pedigree guy. I love this kid. Huge fan of him.
All right.
What are we hearing on Makar?
Shoulder. I haven't heard shoulder. I just watched him go to the bench and go,
my shoulder.
While holding a shoulder.
Emily Kaplan just sent a tweet about it. Cutter Gauthier and Cale Makar both hurt last night. It appears neither are too serious. Gauthier won't travel to San Jose. The Ducks are hopefully returns this weekend. Makar's timeline is still DBD, but not believed to be long-term. So that's good news.
Makar, Taves, Manson, Brent Burns, Brett Kulak. That good enough to win a cup? Probably.
Forgot Kulak got traded there.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's a probably.
I don't know. I mean, if it's always just left up to the goalie, when it's all said and done, who knows what you're gonna get anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is fascinating to try to figure out. I'm trying to remember last night, one of those conversations we had about teams.
Okay.
Anyway, ignore me. Move on. I got it. I have something I want to say, and I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
You know what I get a lot of
What?
when I see the chat in our YouTube thing and some DMs here and there from Habs people who hate me, that we don't talk about the Habs enough.
Mm-hmm.
That we take a beating for not giving the Habs enough credit for
that's
fabulous
just
season.
bad producing.
Well, I mean, it's bias producing, that's for sure. But they really are having a fabulous season, and they have a big.
I actually saw Ryan Whitney tweet a thought that I had, and so I'm sure other people have had it too, which is, Demidov has the potential to be the next Kucherov. He is that shifty, creative, driven sort of combination of guys. Caulfield shoots at net. Slavkovsky's huge. That decor with Hudson back there is so good. Like, they're really, really good.
Yeah, they are.
They got a lot of actual threats. And
which,
why not now?
You got to come back to how serious were they with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a guy like Matthew Nyes?
Oh, they could have. Nyes would have been, for them, just a perfect fit.
A chef's kiss.
Just an extra big body, 70-point shoot it in the net guy.
And I got to tell you, playoff starts today. I wish they were starting today. Buffalo, Montreal, as a first-round playoff series, would rock. That would be an excellent.
My 2 cents is that Montreal would steamroll.
You think?
Yeah,
really?
I do.
In those
That's interesting.
droughts,
That's not statistically driven. That's pure opinion.
In those droughts for the Leafs, we always got assigned Montreal playoffs to cover for Sportsnet.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's nothing that can compare that city in the Stanley Cup playoffs and the excitement and the vibe, and then the presentation before puck drop is electric.
I gotta tell you though,
I mean, there's 17 minutes they spent retiring another number.
Ceremony stuff. Everyone's always going on about their ceremonies. I've never once watched one and not been like, "Can we do this faster?"
Remember when they got mad at us because we didn't do Andre Markov?
To be
there, not through your television screen when the kids are screaming and you just spilled something on the carpet and the wife's all over you.
Popcorn. I'm like, "Can we drop it?"
No. That I'm talking about being in that building.
Yeah.
And just the anticipation to Stanley Cup playoffs. Nothing like it.
By the stats, Buffalo is much better offensively. Montreal much better defensively.
That playoff game last year, remember Tom Wilson ended up in the bench against them, and I think that was the game they ended up winning. I think they lost in 5 to Washington last year, but that was the game they ended up winning, made it 2-1 in the series, and that building is bananas. So there you go, Habs fans. I said nice things, and I love Nick Suzuki, my darling Nick Suzuki from the Owen Side Attack, who, by the way, boys, I update on the Owen Side Attack series. They lost 10-0 last night at home.
So somebody called you out yesterday or the day before on who was the general manager in Owen Sound?
Mike Futa?
No.
Oh, now Dale DeGray.
No. But when they won or when
Futs.
It's Futs when they won.
Yes.
So did they think that you mentioned that it was still Futs?
I don't know.
Because I
Who's
thought
on first?
No, somebody mentioned that it was Dale DeGray when you were talking, but it was Futs as a champion.
Hey,
it's got to be your bull.
Okay, we'll figure it out tomorrow.
Anyways,
we'll figure it out tomorrow.
Attack have been outscored 29-2 in the first 3 games of the series.
Our thanks to Steve Valiquette. We're back tomorrow.
I hope so.
All right.
I'm going to be.
And now, guess what? All our Italian listeners have the whole summer off.
Sammy.
Ciao!
Oh, my God.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.